Hello everyone, this is one of several demos on the flexible shaft machine, an essential tool in the jewelry workshop that can be used in many different ways. Just a quick review, this is the on and off switch. This model also has a forward and backward setting. For now it should be set on forward. The handpiece and the chuck key, that's what we use to open and close the handpiece to insert an accessory into the machine. Now, this demo will be focusing on cleaning and polishing bits. There will be other demos on other accessories. This is your goodie bag. You've been given a bag with several accessories for your flexible shaft. Let's have a look and see what they can do for you. There's a brush, mandrels, wheels, a sandpaper disc. Remember that you must know your tools, so try to remember what all these bits are and know their names too. Safety reminders, you must always wear eye protection and a dust mask, and your long hair must be tied back. You have three different kinds of mandrels in your bag: a screw mandrel, a snap-on mandrel, and a split mandrel. This is the split mandrel, and you can see the slot on the side here. And by the way, all these accessories will also fit other rotary tools like the Dremel. Let's start with the split mandrel. You can use it with a strip of sandpaper or emery paper, like this one. And of course, you can make one for each grit of your sandpaper. First, you need to cut a strip of sandpaper. And it will need to be softened on the bench pin or on the edge of your bench. This is to make sure it doesn't break when it is shaped into a roll on your mandrel. And next we'll insert the sandpaper into the slot of the mandrel. I hold the mandrel in my right hand and the sandpaper in my left hand, with the sandpaper grit facing me. This is to make sure it turns in the correct direction. You can also put a little bit of masking tape to secure the emery paper on the mandrel if it comes off. Always make sure the accessory is put into the handpiece perfectly straight, that it's not wobbly, which would be very dangerous. So you always need to test it before you start working with it. This is another angle here. You see a little bit better. So that the test is shows you whether it's nice and straight. This tool works very well for sanding curved surfaces, like inside a ring or any kind of rounded object. You always rest your workpiece on the bench pin and you hold firmly onto it while you work. Here is another example of a ring band here. So basically, this tool will work well anywhere your sanding stick will not reach. Unlike this one, for example. When the sandpaper is worn out, you cut off the worn out section and you are good to go. So this tool is not very good for sanding flat surfaces. If pressure is not evenly applied, it will leave unwanted marks, which would be very difficult to remove. Like here, for example. This would have to be sanded again and the metal would get much thinner than it is now. So really, for this kind of job on a flat surface, sanding sticks are the best. And remember, with sandpaper, it is better to go in different directions. Otherwise, you risk creating ruts on the surface of the metal. Now let's look at the snap-on mandrel. You will use this mandrel with sandpaper discs that simply snap on the top of this mandrel. They are brass-centered discs, and the brass center is used to secure them on the mandrel. Like you see here, the coating or the grit is on one side only, and the other side is the backing, which is plastic or paper. These discs come in different diameters. In your bag you have a small one and a larger one. They are available in different grits, coarse, medium, fine, and so on. And different mediums or coatings as well. And this is how you put them on. And again, when you insert into the handpiece, make sure that it is secure, that it is perfectly centered and straight as well. And always test before you start working. The disc can be used in two different ways, with the sandpaper side on top or on the bottom, depending on how you can access the spot you want to sand. It can be used to make textures as well. That's what I'm doing here. I'm playing with this. And you can create different patterns depending on how much pressure you use. Now let's reverse the disc. So now the backing is facing up. And this will be easier for me to access, for example, this piece. I want to clean between the lip of the piece and the rest of the surface. Let's look at another example. This is a cast textured piece, and here I use the sandpaper disc to clean the raised parts of the piece, leaving the textures intact. So this is the screw mandrel. It is used with a variety of accessories like rubber wheels, which we have in our goodie bag. So these are the flat edge rubber wheels. They come in different grits and they are color coded for that. And these are the knife edge rubber wheels with a very thin edge. And they come in many other shapes like bullet shapes, points, and cylinders. The different grits are indicated by different colors: pink, black, brown, blue, and so on. Unfortunately, this color coding is not consistent across the brands. This is how you attach the rubber wheels on the screw mandrel. And some of these rubber wheels actually come already mounted, so you don't have to switch like this. You might want to buy more mandrels so that you have all your favorite rubber wheels already mounted and ready to go on your bench. Rubber wheels are used to remove scratches and tool marks and to polish as well. They are good for reaching in places that are not very accessible or too delicate to polish with a large polishing machine. So for your curb chain, for example, you could use carefully a rubber wheel to smooth out your solder seams without damaging the rest of the jump rings. For the S-hook, this is another example. You could use the rubber wheel to polish the melted balls at the end of the hook, or remove some scratches, some tool marks that you may have created with the pliers. Hopefully not, but this is an option. So the rubber wheels are very good because they are quite precise and they can reach in very tiny spaces, like here, where I want to clean up the base of the jump ring without flattening or damaging the jump ring. Or here, if you want to polish in between the grooves or the ridges of this twisted wire. So you can say that in a way you can do very surgical polishing or cleaning with these different rubber wheels. Now, as fun and useful as they are, you have to be very careful when using rubber wheels. Use them at low speed for better control, and make sure you use them at the correct angle or you will make deep marks into your metal. And also, they will damage more stones. Let's look at more fun accessories. You have one brush in your bag, but there are many types of polishing brushes, some softer or stiffer. They are available in different shapes as well. They would be mounted on the screw mandrel and used to polish textured surfaces, for example. Metal brushes, they are brass or steel brushes. Brass is softer, steel is harder. You can use them to give a nice soft satin finish on metal or to create textures. Polishing brushes and buffs made out of felt and cotton. They come in a variety of shapes. You need to apply polishing compound on the buff first, and they are mounted on a screw mandrel. Abrasive wheels, they look and feel like stone. They can be used for grinding metal. They are very hard and very tough, usually made out of silicon carbide. Let's try a steel brush. And you see that on this textured surface, it can be used to give a little bit of a sheen. It polishes the surface without dulling or flattening the texture. And you would get a similar but softer effect with a brass brush. And of course, if you use these metal bristle brushes, you can create all kinds of textures. This is an example here. Abrasive wheels or stones come in different shapes, in different grits, and can be also used to create textures. And you see that because it is a very hard and tough material, it creates very rough and pronounced textures on metal. Sanding bands. Sanding bands are used with special holders, a rubber drum, and the sanding bands are made out of fabric or cardboard, and they are coated in aluminum oxide. They are great for sanding inside a ring band, for example. They come in a variety of sizes and grades. And this is how you would put the sanding band on that rubber drum. You tighten the screw or untighten it to remove the sanding band, and then slide the band onto the drum and then tighten the screw to keep it in place. It expands, and that holds the band in place. And finally, my favorite of all times, my preferred tool is the radial bristle discs. This is the 3M brand. There is, I believe, another brand. They are available in different sizes, different diameters and grits, and they are color coded. And you can also buy them individually, not just as a set. You just have to remember that they have to be put in a certain direction, and always 3 at a time in a screw mandrel. And they are already coated. Thanks for watching.